everyone, it's Max, and today I am here with my August TBR. So, for August, I have very ambitious goals. I am planning on participating, well, by this point I will have been participating in the NEWTS readathon. I know with all of the issues that J.K. Rowling has, G from the Book Roast is planning on this being the last year, which I'm super sad about, but I also totally understand. But I have participated in the last 2 years and I've completed every challenge. So I knew I had to try this year to complete it again for the last time. But other than that one, I also have 3 other readathons I'm planning on being in, which is insane, I know. But I'm not adding any other books to my TBR. It's just the 36 books from the NEWTS, and I'm just connecting those books with the other readathons. So hopefully I should definitely be able to complete all of them because I'm already trying to read those books. So this TBR isn't just an hour. I am going to only talk about for the NEWTS the first challenge for each topic. If you are new to the NEWTS or you haven't heard about it before, it's from Harry Potter, and in the 6th year, characters have to complete NEWTS, which are tests. It's 3 tests for each subject. You don't have to complete all of them, but I want to. So there's 3 reading challenges per subject, and there's 12 subjects, so that means there's 36 challenges. You have to complete the one before to be able to go on to the next one. The reading challenges have 3 steps. There's A, E, and O. O is the best you can get. A is acceptable, but it's not that great. And so I am planning on doing all of them, but I'm just gonna go over what I plan to do for A. So for Ancient Runes, A is read a book with an author that starts with B, and I am going with Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell. This is part of her Twisted fairy tale stories, and this is a Peter Pan retelling, which I'm so excited for, and it is What If Wendy Went to Neverland with Captain Hook, not Peter Pan. That is all I know. I don't know if Captain Hook's gonna have like a redemption arc, or if Wendy's gonna be bad, or if Wendy escapes Captain Hook and finds Peter Pan. I don't know. I just know instead of going to Neverland with Peter, she's going with Hook, and I am so excited for it. For Arithmancy, A is to read a nonfiction, and for this, I am going with The Queens of the Conquest by Alison Weir. This is about Edward the First, I want to say, and William the Conqueror, and this is all back in like, it's spanning the years from 1066 to 1154. This is a book that is set in one of the oldest time periods I've read for AD. BC, I've read books set in BC, but for AD, this is one of the oldest books that I've read, or that I'm going to read. I'm super excited. I recently learned that I am distantly related to King Edward I, and I'm sorry, I think this follows King Edward the Second or Third or something like that. If you watch my BookTube newbie tag, you will know I'm reading an Alison Weir book a month, and so this is my Alison Weir book for August. So the 3rd class is astronomy, and 4A is just to read a book with star on the cover or in the title, and I'm going to listen to the audiobook for The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. This kind of was big a couple years ago in BookTube, but it definitely, I haven't heard anyone talk about it in quite a while, but I've always been intrigued, but I just haven't picked it up. And now the audiobook is on Hoopla, so I thought I would listen to the audiobook this month, and I'm really excited. It's about this girl who is the only person on this spaceship. I don't know if her whole family died. I don't know what happened, but for some reason she's the only person, and she talks to this psychiatrist who's on Earth or something, and she's just totally alone. But then she starts talking to someone over the radio, and it's a boy, and stuff happens. I literally don't know anything else, and that might all be wrong. I might be totally wrong with all of that. So the next class is Care for Magical Creatures, and for the prompt for A, it's to read a book with fire on the cover or in the title. And for this, I'm going with The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This book, I feel like, just got this huge resurgence because people have been trying to read books by Black authors, which I totally agree with. It's great. And this is a fantasy by a male Black author, which honestly, I don't think I've read a whole lot, if any. I've read by Black women, but I don't know if I've really read one by a Black man. And so I'm super excited. I don't even really know what this is about. I know it's a revenge tale and there's war, but that's basically all that I know. But I am just super, super excited to pick this up and I just can't wait. I know there's mixed reviews on it, so let me know what you guys think, but I know some people either really, really love it or really hate it. I don't know if there's any in between. I haven't seen anything about any in between, but I'm still really excited to read it. So the next class is Charms, and for A is to read a funny book, and for this I'm going with The Lady Rogue by Jen Bennett. This is about a girl who's in Turkey with her dad trying to find Vlad the Impaler's ring. They think it's magical, but her dad goes missing, and a boy who she has known her whole life but disappeared a year ago comes and asks her for her help. I am very excited. One of my best friends really enjoyed this. I know I was with her when she read it and she laughed a lot, so I'm hoping that I find it funny. I know it's definitely more lighthearted than like other books could be, so even if I don't laugh out loud, I'm hoping that it's still just like a lighthearted, fun adventure, and I'm still gonna count it as a funny book. So, For Defense Against the Dark Arts, A is for a horror or a thriller. I am going with an audiobook, The Rook, which is what I am reading or listening to for this challenge for Defense Against the Dark Arts. This is about a girl named Miffany who wakes up and she doesn't know who she is. And then she learns that she's not even Miffany. The real Miffany is gone and we don't really know what happened to her, but this girl took over her body. But Miffany knew it and was planning for it, and she tells in letters the new Miffany that someone is trying to kill her and she should figure out who it is. I am almost 6 hours into this. I'm really, really enjoying it. I really want to know what happens next. I'm loving the world because Miffany works for the supernatural sect of British intelligence. So kind of like CIA, but for supernaturals in England. And she's trying to figure out someone in her world, in her job, is trying to kill her, and I'm just so excited to find out what happens. At the beginning I was a little nervous because it's written by a man, Daniel O'Malley, and he kind of, it definitely felt like a guy's voice at first, but it's definitely getting more into the groove, and I'm just super intrigued on what happens next, and I can't wait to keep reading. For divination, A is to read a book with a red cover, and for this I'm going with Fable by Adrienne Young. I got the arc of it on NetGalley, and it is about a girl who is a pirate, and she was abandoned on an island by her dad 4 years before. But she knows that her dad made a promise that if she's able to find him again, he will give her what she wants, or what's owed to her. And so she convinces this pirate ship, basically, or trade ship, to get her to the mainland, and she pays him for it, and then, but he has an ulterior motive. And so they go, and I love a good pirate story. I haven't read a lot of good ones, and I'm just always on the lookout for another one. I really enjoyed The Sky and the Deep by Adrienne Young. I haven't read The Girl the Sea Gave Back. I want to, but I just haven't. And so this, I hope, is gonna just spur me into wanting to read The Girl the Sea Gave Back and more anything else by Adrienne Young. For herbology, A is to read a book with a flower on the cover, and for this I went with Girl of Hawthorne and Glass. It's another arc that I got. It is about a girl who is made by witches, and she's not a human. She's made through hawthorn and glass and other magical stuff, and she is an assassin. She's sent to kill ghosts, but when the witches start sending her to kill humans, she realizes that they are not all they seem. She gets mixed up with a rebel group of humans and witches, and she learns a lot more about her world than she ever knew. For History of Magic, A is to read a historical fiction novel, and for this I am going with another arc, The Midnight Bargain, which is about this girl who also has magic, and she lives in this world where women have to, when they get married, they have to wear collars that keep them from using their magic. This is because if they get pregnant when they have magic, for some reason this opens up their baby to being inhabited by a spirit that will wreak havoc once the baby is born. And this girl really wants to keep her magic because she's really good at it, but she also wants to get married, and she has to because her family is almost destitute. But she's really just struggling between whether or not she wants to get married, and she just, in this world and in this time period where women are just put down, and it's just, I'm reading it right now and I really like the writing, I really like the characters, but I'm just sick of plots where women are put down and women are subjugated and it's women who are just facing the worst of everything. How about a man for once? So that's really irritating me, but it's supposed to. Like, you're not supposed to be liking it. But I'm just really, this plot device is just really kind of on my last nerve. But I like this book. The writing's beautiful, the characters are great, and so I am really excited to keep going, but the plot's just driving me insane. For Muggle Studies, A is to read a comic, which I am choosing Lumberjanes Volume 12 for. I started reading Lumberjanes in like June, maybe May, and I have read already 10 volumes. I love Lumberjanes. I am absolutely loving this comic series. If you don't know what it's about this summer camp for girls called Lumberjanes, and this group of 5 girls are experiencing a whole lot of supernatural stuff happening at this camp. I have been loving them. Honestly, once Noelle Stevenson stopped being a part of it, which I think, I'm trying to decide why, and I think it's when She-Ra started, which, watch She-Ra if you haven't, please. It's phenomenal. But once she stopped being a part of it, they've kind of gone downhill for me. I feel like they don't have the messages that they used to, and I feel like they're more just kind of surface level, which sucks because I absolutely loved the series for the heartwarming messages it came across, that they put across. But I am still enjoying the series, don't get me wrong, and I'm really excited to continue. For Potions, A is to read a book with Sky on the cover or in the title, and I'm going with The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. If you can see, there's Sky. For a long time, until just recently, I thought this was like a beam coming from the ground up to say The City We Became. So I was like, yes, that's part of the sky. There's this huge beam going in it, until I realized that's a bridge. Yeah, that's a bridge, but I still really, really want to read it, and there is still a fair amount of sky here, so I'm still counting it. It's not as much to do with the sky as I thought, but yeah, that's what I'm going for. And this is about, once a city becomes populated enough, a human kind of is created to embody the soul of that city. And in New York City, a soul for each of the boroughs wakes up. I'm so excited. I hear phenomenal things. I read most of the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I loved the first one. Wasn't a huge fan of the second one, and I'm not really planning on reading the third one, but I'm really excited for this, and I do want to try her other series. And then for the last challenge is Transfiguration, and in A, it's to read a book with an animal in the cover or in the title. And for this, I'm going with The Stolen Songbird by Daniel L. Jensen, which is like, it's about this girl who's kidnapped and becomes the wife of the heir to this troll kingdom, and they're cursed to live under the earth and they're never able to come out. And I'm excited. I hear really good things about this series. I really, really want to love it because I know that she's written a lot of stuff, and I'm super excited. Okay, and so now I have 3 other readathons I'm planning on being in, so I'm going to try and go through these pretty quickly. Some of the books I've already talked about, and I'm just going to quickly show the cover again, but some of the books I haven't. And so the first readathon that I'm participating in, I am so excited for. It is Avatar: The Last Pageturner readathon. This goes from August 1st to August 14th, and I'm just so excited for it. I just recently watched Avatar for the first time, loved it, of course. And so when I heard about this from Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes, I knew I had to be a part of it. And I was able to connect a book with each prompt except one. If you know one that can, of what I've talked about or what I'm going to be bringing up, please let me know, because I just might not know, and I should. So for the Earth Kingdom, the first prompt is to read a book with the green or brown cover. For this, I'm going with Lumberjanes Volume 11. There's always nature on the Lumberjanes books, but this one is about like a jackalope and mythical creatures, and there's definitely some plants, and it's definitely green and brown. For B, read a black main character by a black author. I'm going with The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. Even though I don't know if any of the characters are Black yet. They've got, at least one has to be, right? Like the characters, at least in the Broken Earth trilogy, were Black. And so I'm really hoping that at least one of these characters is. If not, I might just have to really quickly read a graphic novel, or just unfortunately say that this wasn't a success. For the last prompt for the Earth Kingdom is to read a book with nature on the cover, and for this I'm going with Lumberjanes Volume 12. Again, like I was saying, nature is just a huge theme in Lumberjanes in general and on the covers. For Fire Nation, the first prompt is to read a book with a red or orange cover. For this, I'm going with Fable by Adrienne Young. For the second prompt is to read a book with fire on the cover, and for this I'm going with Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons. I have read the first 2 books in this series this year and absolutely loved them. The first book is my favorite book of the year so far, which was The Ruin of Kings, and I definitely suggest this series. I recently read the second one, which stay tuned for my July wrap-up on Friday for that. But I got an arc of the third one. I am so excited. The first one follows this guy who, there is a prophecy that came out I think many years ago, where there is a group of people who are destined to destroy the world. And this main character, he thought he was a commoner for a long time until his dad disappears or dies. Honestly, I can't remember. And he finds out he's actually the bastard son of the heir to this really high up family. I am so excited for the third one. The first book and the second book they take place during the same time, following 2 different main characters who I think in the third book are now going to be working together going forward. And I'm so excited. The second one definitely left off on a cliffhanger, and if this follows like a different main character during the same time period, I'm going to cry because I need to know what happens next. For the last challenge for the Fire Nation, it is to read a book with a Latinx main character by a Latinx author. For this, I'm going with Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. So sorry if I pronounced that wrong. About this group of characters who are competing to win a competition or trials or something. I don't fully know. Oh, and this goes towards the NEWTS. This goes towards the news prompt for Charms and E, which is to read a book set during winter. In the synopsis, this says it's a frozen setting, so I'm going to kind of hope that this works, because, yeah, I hope it is during winter. But even not, if it's frozen, I'm just counting it because. And Memory of Souls also works for Transfiguration, to read a book with dragons or fire. One of the main bad guys in the Ruin of Kings series is a dragon. So I know there's dragons, and on the cover I think there's embers, so that goes with the fire thing as well. Okay, so for Air Nomads, the first prompt is to read a book with a white cover. And for this, I'm going with The Rage of Dragons again by Evan Winter. For B, read a book with an Asian main character written by an Asian author. I am going with Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I am so excited about this book. I have been seeing it everywhere, but I've seen it at the bookstore at like Barnes & Noble for so long, and I've always been interested in it. But you know, when I was in college, especially recently, I could not justify buying like a 35-page book. Now I have a full-time job and everything, and I could, but then I saw that this was in paperback, and I decided to definitely pick it up. It is a retelling of the Mahabharata, which is a very prominent mythological text in India and in the Hindu religion. And I am so excited. It follows the 2 brothers, Shvate and Audrey, who have to like complete this trial by fire, because they are the heirs. But what they weren't counting on is that the daughter of a demon king is able to complete them as well. And so it throws this world into a huge war, and I'm just so excited. It's huge, but it's also just gorgeous, and I'm so excited. I know Starla absolutely loved this, and I'm just so pumped. Now that I've been seeing it everywhere on BookTube for like the first time, I I'm like getting even more excited to read this, and I just can't wait. And then for the last prompt for the Air Nomads, it is to read a book with wings on the cover. For this, I'm going with The Midnight Circus. It's another arc that I have, and it is a collection of short stories all set at a circus. There are flying people on it, and I'm just really excited to pick it up, and that's the flying people. For the last set of prompts for this readathon, it is the Water Tribe. And the first prompt is to read a book with blue on the cover. And for that, I'm going with Queens of the Conquest by Alison Weir. Another one is to read a book with water on the cover. And for this, I'm going with Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell. And then the last prompt is the one that I just don't have a book for. And that is to read a book with an Indigenous main character by an Indigenous author. I don't think there are any books on my TBR that fit this bill. Hi, sorry if the angle changed. My battery needed charging. So for the rest of the August readathons that I'm participating in, the next one is Scallywagathon, which is happening from August 16th through the 23rd, I think. And there are 5 challenges, and I will leave Allie from Hardback Hoarders video down below. There's not 5 challenges, but there's a map, and you choose the first like 1 through 5, and then from there they split off to different numbers, to letters, and you follow the map. And so for me, there are 5 challenges. The first one is I'm going to number 3 first, and it's choose a book with 2 eyes in the title. And I'm going with The Rules for Faking It. 2 eyes. It is a romance. I have an arc of it. I honestly cannot tell you what it's about. And this is for the prompt. First unread book I see for divination, and it is 10 Rules for Faking It. There's 2 eyes. There we go. I put this together today, and I was like, okay, literally no other book on my TBR for this week had like 1 eye in it, or definitely not 2, so that's how that works. Then I chose number 8, which is what exploded in popularity, and I went with Upon a Burning Throne for this. Then it goes to letter B, and it's a book that I've forgotten I'd owned. So I didn't forget that I owned this, but I forgot it twice. So during Becca's Book-Oppalathon in July, I brought all of my books, my unread books from my dad's house to my mom's house so that I could choose as it went along. And I forgot this book at my dad's house. And then I almost forgot it today for this video. And that book is My Calamity Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I am so excited for this. This is the 3rd and last book in the Lady Janie's series, and it is about my Calamity Jane, who's a Western. She's a woman who lived in like the Old West, but in this retelling there are werewolves, which, yes please. And for NEWTS, this went for read a book that was longer than the last book you picked up. Because it's over 500 pages, I'm hoping that this will just in general be longer, but I'm also, just in case, deciding that that's going to be for longer than the prompt in the category previous, which for me was White Fragility, which is like 200 and something pages or something. So this is definitely longer than that. So yes, this works very well. And then for the last prompt for what I am reading, I'm sorry, I think I said that I was doing 5 prompts. It's actually 4, because then the next and last is read a book that was a cover by, and for me, that is Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. Barnes & Noble had a buy one book, get 50% off another one or something, and I got this and The Kingdom of Exiles. But what really drew me in was this cover. It's stunning. I love the shards of glass with the slipper, with the glass slipper, and this is a Cinderella retelling but told from the point of view of one of the stepsisters. And for NEWTS, this goes towards the prompt, start a book with loose tea, which is the last prompt for divination. Okay, I I have one more friggin' readathon to talk about, and that is Tome Topple, which is going from August 8th through the 21st. I'm so excited. I have tried to participate in Tome Topple so many times, and the first time, which I vlogged and uploaded on my last channel, it was the wrap up, was the only time that I've really done it successfully, and I read like a lot. I read like 7 or 8 tomes, which is insane. This is definitely going to work because I'm reading all these books for the NEWTS again. And so let's quickly go over them. It is, so for TBR Vet and for an unpopular genre, I'm reading Orange Volume 1, which is for the NEWTS prompt to read a manga. This is about a girl who gets a letter from her future self saying that she has to save one of her classmates or else he's going to kill himself. I hear phenomenal things. This was like Becca from Becca and the Books' favorite book like a couple years ago, and I'm just super excited to read this. For a standalone, I'm going with My Calamity Jane, because even though it's technically in a series, each book is its own like standalone book. You do not have to read the other books to read this one. So I'm counting it because for right now, this is like the only standalone that I have. For read one tome, I'm reading Memory of Souls, which by Jen Lyons, which I've already talked about. For biggest tome, I'm reading Upon a Burning Throne because it is very long and it's definitely the biggest tome on my TBR. For read a book by a Black author, I'm reading Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters, and that also goes for my most recent tome. It's the most recent book that I purchased. I'm not able to get to 2 prompts, and that is to listen to an audiobook and to read a book that you started in a past round. The audiobooks that I'm listening to these 2 weeks are actually very short, and so I just don't have anything that fits towards this. Okay, so that is it for my August TBR. It's huge. It's 36 books. It's huge. And I didn't even get into like 3/4 of them. But yep, I'm participating in 4 readathons. There will be weekly reading vlogs. I'm planning on just weekly vlogging every week. Doesn't matter if there's a readathon or not, but there will always be a readathon in August because it encompasses the entire month. But it's very big, and I'm just super excited. I'm really sad this is the last NEWTS, but I'm so excited for the other 3 readathons that I'm participating in. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!